Breezy on Ice podcast, and I'm back with another episode today. And did the Minnesota Timberwolves seal their own fate by suspending Rudy Gobert for one game during the play-in tournament? Now, this is a question that I have to ask, and I do feel like, yeah, Minnesota fucked up by suspending Rudy Gobert. I'm not sure if he would have made much of a difference, but you got to have all your best players on the floor during a crucial time and moment, especially this being a play-in tournament and trying to seal your own fate and making the playoffs. I mean, I know you're saying you get another chance, but if you suspended Rudy Gobert for the altercation with Kyle Anderson, right, and you don't even fine or suspend Kyle Anderson for his part, where do we do that at? It takes two to get into an argument or a disagreement or whatever it was, because if Kyle Anderson told Rudy Gobert, well, you need to get some blocks, and Rudy Gobert tells him, well, you need to grab some rebounds, and he's able to get away with verbally abusing Rudy Gobert as a man, and you expected Rudy Gobert to just not do anything bad enough. He has this reputation or this stigma following him around of being a bitch, and his own teammates tell him, shut up, bitch. More than one time, call him a bitch more than one time, and you expect him to just gloss it over and not do anything. After a while, Rudy Gobert had to stand up for his own integrity as a man, and it's basically principle and protocol. You can't be a vocal leader or a leader amongst men and not have respect for another man. What works for somebody else doesn't work for everybody. So as a leader, you have to know what works to motivate your guys. Some guys, you can't just right out, attack them like that. Some guys that work for, and they fire them up. Some guys that don't. You may get into a fight with a different type of personality because of the way you approach the thing. You cannot approach everybody with this aggressive, ruly thing and expect Rudy Gobert to want to go out there and get rebounds. And who is Kyle Anderson anyway? Let's just be honest. Kyle Anderson is not a star player. He's not a superstar player. He's not even, I don't even consider him a really good player. He's just a role player at best. He's somebody that you can put out there. He get you a few rebounds, get you a few points. He might get hot. He might not get hot. But he's not a guy I would say should be a leader among men, right? Rudy Gobert is a guy who gets paid more money than him. Rudy Gobert is a guy who I believe is a two-time defensive player, right? Isn't he a defensive player? I don't know if he's a two-time or three-time or one-time defensive player, but he's a defensive player of the year. He has an award for defense, right? He's always in the top category as far as blocks, right? He's at least top 5, top 3 in blocks every year. He's somewhere in the mix with the blocks, right? He's going to get you rebounds. He's not a dominant post guy that is going to score on a block. But he have had some nights where he put in some points, but he's going to get you, he can go get you 20 rebounds in any given game, right? No, he's not, he doesn't play with an edge. He's not one of those edgy player type guys or big men. He's rather mild, respectful, as they would say. But yeah, he had to stand up. He had to stand up on his own too. And I feel like Minnesota did themselves a disservice of not having all their players there. And I feel like Minnesota, if you're gonna, penalize one guy, you gotta penalize both guys. Again, it takes two people to tangle, two people to argue, two people to take things to the next level or to the extreme. So if you didn't want to suspend Kyle, you should have hit him with a fine. You have to put things in proper perspective and in places where you as an ownership or a group or a management or an organization, you running things to the T and to the and extremely fair and balanced. So both of them would have got suspended, or both of them would have got hit with fines. I know it's on TV, it doesn't look good, but hey, you tell the media, look, we handling the situation, we're finding both guys, that's the end of that, you know, or we suspended both guys, that's the end of that. Not one guy is going to be able to get away with verbally abusing another guy, and the other guy, you know, hits him, or whether it was closed fist or open fist, whatever, doesn't matter, and he gets suspended, and then you go out, you playing the LA Lakers, you playing LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and company. This is for the 7th seed, mind you, right? You're in this game, and then second half, you're out of the game. You lose, you go to overtime, granted, but you lost a game, and now you have yourself in a situation where you have to play a hungry, scrapping team like the Oklahoma City Thunder with SGA, who I believe is going to beat Minnesota. Now they're gonna have Rudy Gobert back, but whatever, doesn't matter. I believe they lose to Oklahoma City, and that's gonna be their fate. They're not gonna be in the playoffs. That's what I feel. I don't feel like they can redeem themselves. They had the opportunity to win and lock up the 7th seed, and play Memphis. I think Memphis is the number 2 seed. Yeah, and play Memphis at the number 2 seed. Now you don't have that opportunity. Now you have to go and battle with Oklahoma City for the 8th spot, which I believe Oklahoma City has the momentum after beating the New Orleans Pelicans in a very competitive game. I believe Oklahoma City is a hotter team. I believe they're the more talented team. I believe they're a better team. They're both young teams. We'll see what happens. Maybe Minnesota will prove me wrong, but either way, I believe whatever team wins, they don't beat Denver. Denver's gonna beat them in the first round. I like the Lakers' chances of being number 7, so I will commend them and give them credit where credit is due. They definitely go in and handle business against the Memphis Grizzlies, not the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Memphis Grizzlies. Sorry, I got the M's confused. LA's gonna go handle business against the Memphis Grizzlies. John them is young. They're talented. They're good, but I believe LeBron. They know how to win. They champions. You know, AD. Them guys is hungry. They know how to win. They have a championship. They have a lot of playoff experience, especially LeBron has a ton of playoff experience, and I believe he will not let himself lose to the Memphis Grizzlies. He think they're a young team. He think they cocky. He thinks they arrogant, and they haven't won anything. So if Memphis want to prove something, they have to win. Not only win this series, but they got to go on a nice deep run. And the way the West is constructed, I don't see them going on a nice deep run at all. I believe that 2 seed is going to be the seed to get upset. I see Minnesota getting bounced. I do think it goes 6 games. I do think Memphis is good enough to win 2 games. I do think it would be a 6-game series. Competitive, entertaining, of course. It's going to be one of them series to watch. You know, it's going to be good for basketball. And that's just how I see that series coming down to the wire. I do believe Minnesota shot themselves in the foot. And their season just about over. Chicago took care of business last night. Oh, yeah, was it last night? Yeah, last night. It took care of business. And they lock up the 7th seed. No. Who locked up the 7th seed? Atlanta locked up the 7th seed. I'm sorry. Chicago won. They're going to play, who are they going to play? Damn, how is this working? Hold on, let me check. But I do believe Atlanta took care of business. They locked up the 7th seed. They beat Miami. So they did what they needed to do. So, yeah, it's going to be Chicago and Miami playing for that that final seed in for the play-in tournament, which is going to be Friday. So yeah, the Bulls and the Heat, because Miami got a second chance, just like the Timberwolves got a second chance for the 8th seed. So this is going to be interesting. We know Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, they took care of business and getting the win. They a much needed win. I believe this Bulls team should have been higher up in the standings. I also believe Miami should have been a little higher in the standings. I think Brooklyn surprised everybody still after the trade of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, that the pieces they got back really played hard and they really held on to that 6th seed and they managed to stay out the play-in tournament, which is good for them. Do they have a tough matchup to start the playoffs? I believe they do have a tough one, man. You got Philly, my Sixers. It's gonna be entertaining. I want to say 5, but Brooklyn is scrappy, so I think it goes 6. This Hawks Celtics series could be a fun series. It could be a really fun series. I believe it's gonna be a lot of high scoring. It's gonna be a lot of high scoring. But you got to favor Boston. I don't see it going 7, maybe 6. Atlanta may can win 2 games. Then again, it may go 7. You never know. I believe it's gonna be good, but I don't think it's gonna go 7. I barely think it's gonna go 6. I'm saying 5 for the Celtics. The Knicks Cavaliers. This is gonna be interesting. The Cavaliers Knicks series is gonna be interesting. It depends on how well Julius Randle plays, and if he plays up to code and don't do what he did in the playoffs before. If Julius Randle can play up to code, he has a lot of help now with Jalen Brunson. I hate to admit this, he has a lot of help with Jalen Brunson, and we know quickly has contributed well. Josh Hart has been exceptionally well and coming off the bench for them and stuff like that. Jalen Brunson, man. Jalen Brunson is big time. He's on the big stage. He's doing it right here in NY, in the Mecca of basketball. There's a lot riding on this. This is not going to be an easy series. I think this is going to be my favorite series right here. This Knicks Cavaliers series, I want to see how the Knicks is going to play up to playing Cleveland. We know Cleveland, to me, have one of the best backcourts probably in the playoffs with Darius Garland, and we know what Donovan Mitchell can do. So I can't wait. The Warriors and Kings is going to be an interesting series because Sacramento has no playoff experience, none whatsoever. So they play well this year. I gotta give it to them. They play extremely well, but they have no experience. And the playoffs come down to experience. And I see this being an upset. I see Golden State winning this series. Honestly, I believe Sacramento is gonna be competitive, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't see it going 7. I say 6 for the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins is coming back, so they're gonna have all their pieces in the proper places. It's just gotta see how well Andrew Wiggins' conditioning is from being away from the game for a while, dealing with his personal matter. But yeah, it's gonna be entertaining. But you gotta like the Warriors. You gotta favor the champs. And I believe they become the road warriors that they are. And yeah, I see upset brewing as far as that series goes because Sacramento's the highest seed. The West is going to be fun. The Clippers and Suns series is going to be fun. The Clippers and Suns. That's going to be a very exciting series. You got Russ versus KD. It's going to be interesting. And by the way, we got all the California teams in the playoffs this year. The Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Warriors. So, you know, and we got the two New York teams. So I just wanted to shout out the cities and having, all the teams representing, you know, for their cities. It's cool. It's good for basketball, good for the marketing and things of those natures. Um, I think that's all I got for right now. Peace and love, as always. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe. Peace and love.